Okay, guys, welcome to part 3 of your week 3 checkpoint 1 assignment. I ran out of time in the last one to cover the testing conditions, so I just want to cover that really quickly so that you guys know what's expected of the test conditions chart. Uh, okay, so for the test conditions, what I like to see is basically a table of well, two things that are very important. First is one column that represents the input. You know, what input and what input values are being tested. The second important thing is the expected output. If those input values are used, what is the expected output of the program? And then for just to be for clarity, I added a third column here called comments because the conditions that are very important when you're testing your program. Basically, the zero conditions, because zero causes a lot of problems in software, namely whenever let's say division is being used and you try to use a zero value, that's going to crash the whole program. So you almost always want to test the zero condition for any kind of input variables. The other thing you want to test for is out of range conditions. So for example, one big out of range condition for this program is entering in a negative value for the number of burgers. You know, what is that going to do? And in theory, you should get an error message, and then once you get that error message, the software should reset any of those variables to zero. You don't want to propagate that out of range condition throughout the program. Who knows what secondary kind of effects that's going to have. So those are the first two important things to test for: your zero conditions and your out of range conditions. You know, for your assignment concerning the taxes in Appendix G, you're probably going to have zero conditions to test for. I would definitely test for at least one negative number. But the majority of conditions that you're going to test for are what's called these boundary conditions, and that's what I've listed here. Now, you know, what are and I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself. The third thing that I normally like to see is at least one nominal condition tested, and that's tested for, and that's just your normal everyday users going in saying, you know, I want one burger, two burgers, three burgers. In this instance, I'm just testing one burger, and if the user enters in one burger, I'm expecting the total cost to be $3.99, and the discount set to zero and the service charge set to zero, right? Because that doesn't meet any of the requirement conditions that I listed above. So that's kind of your nominal condition test case. The rest of these are all what's called boundary test cases. And so what you want to do is, you know, how do you determine what a boundary case is? We'll go up and either look at your flow charts or look at your pseudocode and ask yourself, where are there unique flows of code, I guess is a good way to say it. So for the calculate total bill module, there's several unique flows, right? Because if total cost is greater than 20, then it's going to run this. But there's two boundary conditions for this one statement here, right? Because this statement can be either evaluated to true or it can be evaluated to false. You need to test both of those conditions. So how do you test both of those conditions? Well, first you try setting total cost to say 19, which would be the false condition, right? So that would meet the false condition there. Well, how would you meet the true condition? You would set it to 21, let's say, right? And in reality, it's actually 20 and 21, not 19 and 21, right? Because if we set total cost to 20, 20 is not greater than 20, so that is the false condition, right? So this has two boundary conditions. This one has two boundary conditions. This has two boundary conditions, and then here is your nominal case that we tested for above the boundary conditions. So we should have 6 boundary conditions here to test for. So let's go down and take a look. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boundary conditions, and notice that for your expected output, I literally took out my calculator and used math to figure out, okay, if we have 20 burgers and we apply the requirement rules above, what should the total cost be? And that's how I figured out these numbers. Okay, uh, a similar sort of thing needs to be done with your assignment in Appendix G. If the salary is of this one particular boundary condition, you need to figure out, what is the total tax for that boundary condition, and make sure you list that in the expected output. The whole point of this test value table is to give this to the test engineer so that he can go through and test all these different test cases. Each one of these is a different test case, and if all of these test cases meet all of the expected outputs, test engineer is going to be happy, and he's going to release software. If any one of these fails, he should definitely sound the alarm and stop the release process. Okay, so the testing table is definitely very important in the real world, and I want you guys to get very comfortable with this. So that's it. I mean, that's everything in a nutshell for this assignment. I was probably a little bit long-winded on some of this, but I really wanted to make sure that you guys could kind of see what was going on, and I really wanted to explain things well. So if you have any questions, again, email me, and maybe I can create future posts on anything that isn't very clear in these videos. Maybe I'll even create another video. So I hope this helps everyone out, and I look forward to your submissions.